all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for the invocation by Pastor Bill Wilson of Choose United Methodist Church. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We thank you, God, for this night and allowing us to gather together as a community, one with another. We thank you for the leaders of our community. We thank you for each resident of our community. And we thank you that we can work together hand in hand, not separately, but we are marching forward together in unity and in harmony one with another. Bless all those that you've placed in leadership, and may we ever keep our focus on you through it all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council with schedule designated at this time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. For use of an electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain an audible and clear record, request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. Recording is to be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office. This shall be the official record of Township Council meetings. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison. Mr. Schmidt.
Mr. Schmidt had a family obligation.
Mr. Seiler.
Here.
Mrs. Strato.
Here.
Mrs. Winters.
Here.
Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Bianchini.
Present.
Mayor Mayer.
Here.
Mr. Maffa. Mr. Lechner.
Here.
Chief Earl.
Here.
Mr. Carlemere.
Here.
Mr. Cardis.
Here.
We have a presentation tonight. Gloucester Township Girls Athletic Association softball travel team. Mayor?
Who did?
How does this work?
Okay. Chuck, you want to join us? Tonight is Mayor and Council's pleasure to honor Gloucester Township Girls Athletic Association softball teams. 3 teams had a exciting and wonderful season, and those that know me know that I have a big part of my heart is with girls softball, having been involved with my own daughters. And Chuck and his organization continues to do great work with the young ladies of our township. So Chuck, thank you for all that you do for our township girls. Tonight we're recognizing the achievements of 3 GTGAA softball travel teams who have competed this past season in the South Jersey Girls Softball Association Fast Pitch League. These 3 teams each won their respective South Jersey Division championships. They competed with strong teams from Cherry Hill, Williamstown, Voorhees, Washington Township, Bedford, Summerdale, Stratford, Audubon, Haddon Township, and Ronan. The senior division team, and I would like to call up head coach Jay Knocker. Jay?
I'm not going to address for you then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The senior division team, ages 18 and under, won their 3rd straight title. And with that, I would ask head coach Jay Knocker to say a few words, as well as introduce the team.
Geez, another great year as the senior division. This is our 3rd championship in a row. It's been quite a tear. Really proud of the kids. Unfortunately, many of them are in school, etc., so don't have a huge turnout for the team, but a bunch are here. Okay, good enough. Then we will pull these out. Abby Rice. Oh, come on up.
Sweeney. Juliana Picosi. Jade Pearl's in school. Jessica Castiglia is in school. Heather Allen. Gabrielle Marino. Erica Tompkins, she couldn't make it last minute. Sam Conte is away. Mariah Hans is here. Lauren Simmons couldn't make it tonight. Christina Kane's in school. Caitlin Fermano. And Abby Rice. Who already came.
That's our senior division team. Great job, girls. Thank you for 3 in a row.
Thank you. Mike Lord here? Steve's here.
Steve's here.
The Junior 1 Division team, ages 15 and under, was the top junior team in the entire league for the 2nd straight year. So that is quite an accomplishment. And the teams that we talked about early on are all top softball programs. So to accomplish what these young ladies have is very amazing. Coach, you want to say anything?
Just thank the girls for another great year, and especially thank the parents for all their support. So, see you next year. Brianna Kaspazak. Abby Lord had a field hockey game. Val Laslasco. Sarah Bauer. Sam Sack. Rachel Robb. Kate Kirst. Jasmine Logan. Daphne Posey. And Ashley Francona.
And another great job by our junior division team. We actually had 3 junior division teams. This is our top team in level 1. And they beat all the teams and went to the finals and won the championship in their division. So another great job.
Coach Jim Williams. The major division team, ages 12 and under, won the top major division in South Jersey for the 2nd time in 3 years. Boy, Chuck, there's a lot of multiple year winning here.
Yeah.
And so that's a tribute to your organization.
Coaches did a great job and the parents benefit.
Coach, anything back?
Just thanks to the girls, a great season. This really caps off a memorable season, so thanks for honoring all the girls tonight, and special thanks to the parents. Their commitment makes it all possible.
Good.
All right. Alexis Kasperzak. Alex Rice. Jessica Bizacco. Aaron Williams. Emily Michelson. Angelina Posey. Charlie Lamar. Brooke Tamras. Amanda Taylor. Amanda Gosweiler. Julia Kinsella. Julia's not here. Vanessa Bowen. And last but not least, Victoria Smith.
Again, this is a great group of girls. This is our 12 and under group technically, and in our major division, you guys did a fantastic job getting all the way to the finals and winning everything. And it was, again, it was 2 different major divisions, and they were on top of everything. So, great job, ladies. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We appreciate it. Parents, thank you for coming out for all your support during the year. I just do want to make mention that the trophies that you're seeing here are the championship trophies that they won. We are presenting them on behalf of our program to Mayor and Council, and they will go on display at the municipal building, actually right up on the first level, so you can see all the trophies that our program has won and all the work that they've done. The hard work will always be here. So again, thank you, and Mayor, thank you for supporting all of our programs.
Oh, absolutely, Chuck, thank you. And let me just say thank you to your associate, to Chuck, all the officials, the coaches, everyone who gives so much time back to this organization, really to benefit the youth of our community. So thank you, Chuck, and everyone associated with your organization. You are all champions, and it's great. And congratulations. You should be very, very proud of what you have accomplished. And we are very proud of you here in Gloucester Township, and that's why we wanted to recognize your efforts. You're constantly demonstrating how committed you are to the sport and to good sportsmanship. And so we congratulate you certainly on that. I know softball is near to me. My daughter plays in the league as well when she's not injured. But she plays in the league and loves softball. And you should be very proud of balancing all the responsibilities that you have and dedicating yourself to a great sport. So congratulations on behalf of Town Council and myself. And to the parents who devote a lot of time and energy to supporting your children, thank you so very much for making a difference in this community and for making a difference certainly for your children. And that is why we have unveiled I think it was 2 weeks ago, we started the groundbreaking of Citizens Appreciation Park. And it's going to be located in the Glendora section of our community, right across, kind of across from the Glendora Fire Company, where we're going to recognize every organization who touches this one at a wall of honor. But to say thank you to all of you who give back so much of your time. Each year, every organization in town, whether it's a sporting organization, a fire company, any of our civic organizations, will be able to nominate one individual whose name will go on that wall. And we will continually do that every year, again, as a small way of just saying thank you for making Gloucester Township a great place to live. So, Chuck, congratulations to you and all the many countless years that you have given to this organization, to the coaches, parents, and of course to the athletes. Congratulations.
We'll take a 2-minute break. Thank you.
Girls, if I could ask you guys just to come up over here. I want to take a picture for the website. So come up to this real quick.
She doesn't want to go.
Come on back.
Saturday before Christmas.
All right. So we got a council meeting to go. Hurry up. Done? Ladies, thank you. I know, it took a while to get there. Good job, guys. You get home to your homework.
On my knee right now. Fun. I don't care, not good. You should be happy. Shut up.
Dude, I never seen that one coming.
Hey, Chuck. Good job.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah. Glad you went first.
Oh, did you ask him about I just forgot. Of course we do.
Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison? Mr. Seiler? Here. Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Bianchini?
Present. Proclamation.
Whereas for more than 2 centuries our nation has struggled to transform the ideals of liberty and equality from founding promise into lasting reality, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Americans have been working very hard towards the same goal. Whereas October is LGBT History Month, and this year we recognize the contributions lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Americans have made to strengthen the fabric of American society. Whereas Americans like Roberta Atchenberg, who serves as Commissioner of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, she is the first openly gay presidential appointee confirmed by the Senate. Lupe Valdez is the first woman, the first minority, and the first lesbian to elected sheriff of Dallas County, Texas. And New Jersey natives like Allen Ginsberg, who was a poet and community activist. Hillary Rosen, born in West Orange, is a political contributor to CNN, editor-at-large for the Huffington Post, and managing partner for a public relations and communications firm. Nathan Lane, native of Jersey City, is an award-winning film, television, and theater actor and an outspoken advocate for LGBT. Whereas this month is set to remind both the LGBT community and wider communities of important roles LGBT people have taken in creating the social, legal, and political worlds we live in today. Now therefore I, David Mayer, Mayor of the Township of Gloucester, and Glenn Bianchini, President of the Gloucester Township Council, do hereby proclaim October Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender History Month 2013 in the Township of Gloucester, County of Canton, and State of New Jersey.
Thank you, Ron. Now have the first public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on agenda items only, please raise your hand, come to the microphone. Yes, ma'am.
Gwen Carr, Timber Birch. I had a couple. One is the change order number 1. It's R1310-274 for the road improvements. And had we voted on that first dollar amount before, as that's what we were going to spend?
Yes, that was approved. Correct.
That was approved, and then so we realized there's like $41,000 that we didn't need to use.
There was, I don't know what it came in terms of where.
Because the final quantities, after we completed the project, there was a reduction in the contract amount, about $40,000, yes.
Right. well, from the numbers there, it's like $41,000. Now, will that money just go back into the general fund? Will it have a purpose? Will it be one of those rollover things that we'll use for things that crop up along the way?
So we haven't determined that yet.
Yeah, we have an option of doing, you could put it to a general fund. You also can hold it and utilize it for other capital purchases. Am I correct?
You could amend it to include other streets. You could cancel it prior to year end, in which case it would be available for fund balance for 2014, or you could hold it in the capital fund balance section.
Okay.
Thank you. And the other question I have is, 2 weeks ago when I was here, we waived the reading of the minutes for the October workshop. Tonight we're waiving the minutes for September 23rd. And the last ones to be up there are September 9th. Is there some kind of order or some kind of way that the minutes would be published or
I think the goal for the clerk, and she can add lib to it, is to get them done as quickly as possible. So depending on the complexity of the minutes, she could, or her office could get them done out of order, if that's what you're asking.
The workshop at that last meeting was 2.5 hours. So it's a lot of listening and typing. The workshop was very short. That October workshop, so that's why that went on. It was done, and I got it done.
Right.
This one took me. It took 2.5 hours of typing, of listening. Is a lot of typing. I don't put everything, but I have to sift through. So that's why some of them take a while.
Okay. I appreciate that. It's just that, when I go to look for something and the last one that's published is the 9th and there's nothing for me to draw on, it's kind of like, what's happening? But, all right. Thank you.
Understandable. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we close the first public portion. Minutes?
Waive the reading and accept the minutes of regular minutes September 23rd.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
On the question? Roll call?
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotto?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. The resolutions, although it's omitted there, but this resolutions, if council so desires, can be of consent agenda, if council is okay with that.
Mr. President, I'll make that motion. Normally, these items are listed on the consent.
I'll second it.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotto?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. There is no mayor's report or GTE Gov access questions, so we'll open up to the public portion, the second public portion, which can be on any item. Ready?
Good evening, Council. Ray Paldor, Ariel. First, unfortunately, I'd like to start up again with expressing my condolences for the passing of Ed Sayers, former mayor of Gloucester Township. And I had the unfortunate pleasure of meeting him when I first moved to Gloucester Township when I built a shed just a little bigger than I knew I should have. Got to meet Mr. Sayers that way. And again, our condolences to the organization and to the town. I was glad to see that we got our prayer back and happening again before the meeting.
Right, I just wanted to say, I have a list that I put on, and I'm giving it's given to me by the ministerium, and if they show up, they show up. It's never that we didn't do it, and they also don't do it in the summer.
Understood.
So
And
I just,
it wasn't that long ago that there's not a whole lot of towns anymore that are
No, but
beginning
we still
the
do it.
meeting, and I admire that we still do. And again, it was good to see prayer. That was 4 meetings I think we had, regular meetings without a prayer. We're going even longer in our meetings without a mayor. Is there a reason why? Once again, the mayor was here for awards and photo opportunities, and he's not here for the business of the township.
I can only tell you this, Ray, that the mayor had an appointment with residents after the ceremony, and so that's why he's not here.
The agenda indicated a very short meeting. The meeting reconvened at 7:50. It's now 7:56. We're over the public portion. Mayor wasn't even here for the reading of the proclamation, which he signed. It just seems that, is he interested in the business of the township anymore?
Well,
Quite a few meetings.
The answer to that, Ray, and that's yes. And obviously he is, and just that he's had other things pulling at him, and so he is taking care of them.
All right. It was only a few minutes past the awards. Maybe he could have stuck around. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ray. Yes, sir.
Hi, Glenn. It's Andrew Gardner, 50 Pinehurst Court. So I've been doing a little due diligence on the township's finances, and I found a concerning item that showed up in your Investoro and Stewart audit.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to understand more about the $195 million unfunded pension liability.
Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe each town or municipality has to put a funded liability if the pensions were all taken at once.
Correct. It's an actuarially calculated number. It is not for budget purposes. We're not instructed to budget these monies. It is so that the public, the general public, knows the full extent of the liability. I don't know if the state's required to do it also. Their number would be in probably the billions. But each municipality has to figure it out as if everybody were retiring at once.
Okay.
That's required by
It is statutory.
Yeah, and also along those lines, what does the state have to say about unfunded liabilities regarding the Constitution of New Jersey with unfunded liabilities? What's the state say about that?
The state has a lot of unfunded liabilities.
Well,
I don't
I'm
know.
just, I like to direct this towards, you're an administrator, I want to direct this to the council.
Finance.
Glenn, I just want to, regarding, I mean, we can maybe ask Mr. Calamere that.
Your question
Is regarding specifically, what is the New Jersey Constitution, what they say about unfunded liabilities?
I can't answer that specifically. I would review it and report back to council. But as the business administrator indicated, by statute, the law requires municipalities to disclose the total impact if everyone were to retire at one time.
Right, so how much are we reserving currently towards this unfunded liability?
We pay based on the calculated amounts that come from the State Division of Pensions, both for PERS and Police and Firemen's Retirement System. We do not put any more than what we're required to put in it.
So where can we find that calculation online or somewhere where the residents of Gloucester Township can see that?
I believe the calculation is part of the budget. That's where you put it.
Well, I was looking for that, and it seems like that calculation just tends to move up and down
And
randomly.
I think it's part of the
What I'm trying to understand is that there's an actuarial amount given here.
Right.
So that means we know how much we owe. So there should be a percentage. I mean, the actuarial calculation should be made every year. It probably is, but it is an actuarial calculation. You understand what I'm saying, Tom? It's an actuarial calculation. That's what they're telling you owe.
And it varies.
Right, it varies based on the healthcare percentage, to inflation rate. I mean, I'm very good.
I didn't create the state
I'm not going to
pension.
I want to stick on the point that
Andrew,
Glenn, I would like to know.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
The pension is, that number that we have to budget is created or dictated to us by the state.
It is annual.
Okay, so each annual is dictated how much that amount that this township has to pay based on the pensions of all our employees.
Right, and it doubled from 2011 to 2012.
Correct. I mean,
So
that may be
back
true.
to that, we just spent, tonight you approved the bills,
No.
$130,000 for an all-wheel drive vehicle. That was approved today, I saw that. My question is, this is a concern as a taxpayer, who's to say that next year they don't come back and say it's $500 million here? So with that being said, what are we doing to making sure we have some reserve in excess of whatever the state tells us this year so we can properly budget this?
We budget what each year we have to pay. we have to pay. They know.
So you're not, then why do you have an actuarial number there?
That is a requirement by the state that says, what is the total amount if everybody today, or at that time,
No,
decides to retire?
Glenn, I understand that. But let's wait to see what Mr. Calamere comes up with regarding unfunded liabilities. Because we'll see what the state's, I would request that next council meeting, they mention what the state says per law regarding unfunded liabilities. And I don't care if everybody in the state does it. It doesn't make it right, does it, Glenn?
Well, if the state dictates what we must do, we have to do it.
Right, but
Okay, so if they dictate that this is what you have to report, it's a pension. It's an agreed upon amount that we are funding for the employees of our township. That is there. That's not going to change. The only thing that changes is that number continues to differ from year to year depending on the number of employees.
no, it's not. It's based on actually healthcare costs, because that's where the most. So it's very hard to predict because healthcare costs fluctuate, and unfortunately they're not with the state of inflation of 3%. Right now they're a lot higher. So it's hard for the township to calculate that. That's why I want to make sure that we are actually not giving what is required to pay this year. We're actually reserving, because what's going to happen is $195 million is going to come back and bite us, because all our taxes are going to go up in this town. And it's going to happen who knows when. So with that being said, I just want to know, when I come back next week, I'd like to know about, or 2 weeks, about the unfunded liabilities.
Mr. Carlin will check that.
All right, thank you.
Glenn, the pension did not double. The pension requirement for us actually went down. It goes up and down on an annual basis. That number is an actuary number, and that can flip all over the place, but it's always going to be in the millions and millions of dollars.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Warren Wood, Chrissy Way, and Four Seasons. A couple of weeks ago, the mayor was out to a meet the candidates evening, and he made 4 points on gun club. And I emailed them to you folks. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them or not.
I did not, but.
May I read them, and
Sure.
maybe you guys can give me some updates? The township made an offer to buy Watson's farm, and has he responded yet?
My understanding.
Nothing has come through my office as a response from Mr. White.
So in essence, he hasn't responded.
Correct.
The township, according to the mayor, the township has contacted the state attorney general's office to determine if the gun club constitutes a nuisance to the local residents. Do you have any feedback on that?
That item is being researched by the special counsel that the township mayor and council appointed, the Gibbons Law Firm. The individual attorney that's assigned to that is Mr. Genslaw. The last briefing I have received from him did not talk about anything from the Attorney General. I know he was requested by the mayor to look into the Attorney General on the nuisance issue, but I haven't seen a response come back to the township yet.
Okay. My third item references the land use study. Do we have a progress report? Do we have any date when that may be completed? How's that go?
I know the special counsel has researched the land use law in New Jersey. They've discussed the non-conforming use aspect of the gun club. The gun club, as you're probably aware, was in existence. It goes back to the 1950s, early 60s, I would imagine. Gloucester Township, like many towns, adopted a land use regulation ordinance in the 1970s, which effectively changed the zoning requirements. Under the land use law statute in New Jersey, when you change a zoning requirement for an area, and there's been a pre-existing permitted use, that pre-existing permitted use becomes what they call a non-conforming use. Either it's a structure or a use, which means then that that use or structure can continue in a non-conforming status in that zone, even though now the zone has changed and no one else can come in with a gun club. Any pre-existing use, whether it's a car dealer or whatever, in this case it's talking about a gun club, that has a right to continue. There are certain land use restrictions that apply to that, deal with expansion of the use or expansion of the structure. That's what the attorneys are looking at as to the current use that goes on there compared to a use
when the zone changed. Okay, that study's been going on for, what, 6 months? Didn't that start in the spring?
Yeah, I would tend to think they've had this matter, the special counsel, for probably 5-6 months.
Okay. Do we have a timeline for when it's going to be completed?
I have not had a report back as to where they are. I know they've gone through the land use issues, and I know they've been to the Attorney General on the nuisance issues. They've dealt with sound controls and those things, but I have not had, or I don't think council or the mayor has had an opinion back from them on any of the specific charges that have been given to them.
Okay. I understand that this year the farm is being assessed under different guidelines, and that the land, the portion that's dedicated to the gun club is now taxed differently.
There's a large, I want to say 70 acres in total. My memory's correct, but I'm looking at Chuck's here. 70 acres in total. Maybe we can answer better than I can. 63 of those acres are farmed. 7 are not, and I believe those 7 are the gun club area.
2 houses.
There's 2 houses on that rear section also. One is Mr. Waddell's, and he has 2 homes back there besides the ones in the front.
Correct. My understanding was that for years now, he's been paying farm taxes on the entire property.
No, he is not. There's a partial piece of the ground that's not being farmed that has a non-farmland assessment on it, and the other part does have a farmland assessment.
Does that include the non-farm include the gun club?
I think we had a little discrepancy in the last year or two with how many acres are actually taking place for the gun club, the parking area, the little driveways and everything else. So I think we've got a lot of that worked out for 2014. But there's also 2 houses on the property that also include non-farmland.
To your point about non-conforming use and the fact that he's been there since 1959, I still think it was a major mistake to permit a high school, Mullen Middle, and any other school that's within 2 miles of that gun range, because an errant bullet can travel quite a great distance. So I think it'd be nice if we could close it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no hands up. I almost missed it.
Hello, Arlene Deal, Blackwood Lake Road. Arlene Deal. I was wondering if you could give us a status on the repairs on the Blackwood Lake Dam.
Do you have any update on that?
We submitted our recommendations to the state to install a grout wall behind one of the parapets and the retaining wall on would be the east side, on the upstream side where we believe the lake is. They haven't responded to that yet. I'll be meeting with the mayor tomorrow morning and Public Works Director and Mr. Partis to go over the recommendations at the state. We've also been in discussion with Camden County because they're part owner to the dam. That hasn't worked out to share the cost or any of that. But that's where it stands now. We're waiting for the state to approve our recommendation.
And is there any idea, once they approve, how long the repairs will take?
Should be relatively quick once they approve it. We do have to go out for bids for the work. We just can't give it out. It's probably $50,000–$60,000 worth of work, maybe a little bit more. It's a specialty type thing, so I don't have a real good feel for the costs to do it. So we're going to pull in a couple contractors to do that kind of work. But right now we're on hold waiting for the state. Now this just went into the state on Thursday, so I'm not surprised they haven't responded yet. But I expect to hear from one by the end of the week.
You maybe have a report for the workshop, please?
Yes, sir. Workshop next Monday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Joanne?
Joanne Clark, Timber Birch. Not to belabor anything, but I got my ballot today.
Good.
And I would like your help because one of the questions was concerning allowing veterans to make use of their raffles and lottery, whatever. I'm confused. Don't they already have access to that? Don't we issue licenses to Stetzer Martin to run a raffle or to do whatever? What am I being asked to vote
I
on?
think that they have to give money or not keep for their organization. Yeah, I think that's what it is. They have to give the money to another organization. They can't keep it. Now they're asking to be able to keep
They're
it.
doing a raffle for a purpose, so they have to get the money for that purpose. This legislation, if I'm correct, says that they can use some or all of that money for their own profit as a qualified association.
So any raffles they've had before, they've always given
Given
the
the money,
proceeds
given
away?
it away.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Joanne. Andrew?
Glenn, this is an easy one. What's the status on Choose Landing Road? Just right out here. I just want to know when it's going to be done.
It's not so easy. I had a conversation, actually it was just emails back and forth with the engineer from Camden County Utility Authority. It's their job for the pipeline, and the road, as you know, is a county road. Some of the pipe that was put in that stretch that's not yet paved is defective, has to be repaired. They don't know if they can do it from inside, or if they're going to have to open up the road again to do and replace the pipe. That's still up in the air.
So looks like this 2014.
Well, I'm hoping by the end of November, by mid-November, end of November, but I haven't heard back. Frankly, I haven't heard back yet what the repairs will be, and that'll drive when they can do the actual paving.
Thanks for the update. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Jim Williams, 3 Tiffany Place. Now that you brought up the pipeline, or someone brought it up, I just wanted to say it's an absolute disgrace. Up in Ariel, I want to say by the firehouse, I mean, I cannot believe that whenever they dug the trenches out, and whenever they covered up, God forbid they did the whole street, or blacktopped, or whatever they do. They did only half of it. The portion that they dug up, that's the only portion they covered up. So you got a newer portion of the road, and then you got the same old road there. Then you have the portion of the road up by where Rite Aid is, and there's a convenience store and a fire hall. They didn't do the whole intersection. It's just like it's like an L shape of the newer road, and then the other quarter, it's like 3/4, and then the other quarter, it's just sitting there with the old road. You got a bump. You're coming around. It's an absolute disgrace what they did to these roads. I mean, I don't know if anyone supervised what was going on, or it just seemed to me like they just came in and did it, well, let's get it done, let's get out of here, and that's it. And plus the fact, I mean, they close down the roads, and you'd have to go around a detour and everything, and then a couple weeks later, or a month later, they closed down the roads again. Whatever they did, I mean, it was a disgrace. Plus, a few of the businesses, I go in for pizza at one of the pizza places. He was told 2 days before the fact that they were going to close down by Ariel School in front of his business there. I mean, 2 days. He said he could have at least would have known a week in advance. And I know this isn't your fault, but I mean, maybe in the future, he said at least he could have closed down his place and not had to pay his employees. But I mean, it was an absolute and total fiasco, this whole thing with the pipeline.
Thank you, sir. Could you possibly get a rundown of all the roads that were done and any updates, or if they are
I
completed?
can give you a list. I'm sure you get that from seeing that they were the county or the CCMUA's engineer.
Could you do that for the workshop, is it possible?
Yeah, that's possible.
Okay, just so we know, so when we get next week, maybe you share that with them.
Yeah, I'll just say as you indicated, it was being overseen by CCMUA, and they worked out what the pavement issues were with the county engineering department, and the township had no involvement with that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we close the second public portion.
Mr. Lechner?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Chief Earl?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Carlemere?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Hutchison?
Thank you for coming out.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes, I would like to congratulate the Gloucester Township Girls Athletic Association on their accomplishments. And I also would like to mention that Coach Turner was laid to rest on Saturday. He was the winningest coach in South Jersey boys basketball. He won 775 games with the Camden Panthers, and he won 7 state awards. In 1986, the USA Today listed that team as the #1 team in the country. Coach Turner lived in Gloucester Township for more than 40 years. He was a good neighbor and a friend.
Mrs. Trotter?
Congratulations to the girls softball team, and thank you for coming out, and have a good night.
Mrs. Winters?
I just want to congratulate all 3 teams. That's awesome. Proves they're going to have a really bright future coming up, because it was the younger girls that were winning too. And thanks for coming out.
Mr. Mercado?
Congratulations to the Gloucester Township Girls Athletic Association, Chuck and the leadership there. It's a wonderful program, and it's wonderful seeing the trophies in the case up there. They get bigger and bigger each year. Thank you for coming out this evening. Also, enjoyed Halloween this Thursday evening. Thank you.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the residents for attending tonight's meeting. I too want to congratulate Gloucester Township girls for their wonderful season. And Chuck, thank you for the umpteen years that you put your time into it. Most of it is without having any kids in the system, and that's truly a mark of a person that cares. So thank you very much, and please pass that along to your staff and the coaches. I received a letter from Dr. Brian Rapisi, and I would like just to share some of it. And Dr. Rapisi from the Blackbirds Pike Regional School District wrote to me, and I'm sure he wrote to the chief as well as to the mayor, talking about school security and safety, how important it is in our township. And he goes on to tell that Chief Earl has been instrumental in working with the school systems in preparing them and understanding the pros and the cons of how they handle school safety and utilizing the talents of our Gloucester Township Police Force. And this past Friday, October 11th, Chief, he said he attended Camden County Superintendent meetings where you volunteered your time to present the New Jersey Department of Education new school security protocol. So on behalf of Council, Chief, I just want to tell you thank you for taking care of our kids, caring about their safety and security, as well as thank your staff and the police department for a job well done. I think this shows our residents how our police department, with the philosophy of community policing and working hard and trying to make sure that all our residents are safe each and every day. So, Chief, thank you and congratulations for a job well done.
Thank you.
With that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good night.
We had our ghost thing on Friday. I know the special deal online,
Yeah, it's
another entity. What I wanted to point out was, like,
No,
had everybody,